All right, guys, here we go. All right, so I never want to just leave you without, or even really leave you without telling you, putting in front of you always the equation for momentum. Because remember, we're all searching for momentum. And you can search for momentum two ways. Number one, your own list. Number two, other people's lists. That's the beauty about this. The beauty about this, even if you don't know too many people, how about if you know three people that they do know a lot of people, or do have a big list? What happens now? You can create momentum with putting in this equation in the mix. Speed, so velocity, speed of exposures, massive exposures, condensed length of time, that equals momentum. So if you show this to a lot of people in a really fast way, and then you condense the time, now you created momentum. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you can do it. And you can create it anytime you want. All it takes is one person. Remember that. All it took for Team Fusion to be born is one person. That's all it took. It took Mr. Scott Bulch. That's one person. Mr. Mark Davenport, one person. Mr. James Bradford, one person. That's all that it took. Mr. Brandon Stevens, one person. All it takes is one person for you to create momentum. So when people ask me the question, is it worth it for you to go through the things that you're going through in order for you to make it? Let me tell you, it's completely worth it. What if it takes you 1 year to find one person? What if it takes you 2 years to find one person? And every 2 years from there on, you find one person in each leg. Where now, in 6 years later, you're a top producing blue diamond, making $25,000, $30,000 a month. Would that be worth it for you for the rest of your life? Let me tell you guys, I believe it's worth it. You see, many people forget this. They forget that if we don't do this, guess what's going to happen? We're going to work the 40-40-40 plan. Working 40 hours a week for the next 40 years to retire 40% of your income. That's the other option, guys. Remember that. Keep this in mind, that we're working for something bigger. We're buying our time back. We're buying our freedom back. We're buying our life back. That's what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get started. The webinar today is going to be in this book called The Instant Millionaire, and some of you already might have already seen me train on this. So congratulations, you're about to see it again. Maybe I'll say a few different things, but remember, life is not about just learning new things. Let me tell you, it's not just about that. Sometimes it's just also about being reminded of what we already know. Keeping in front of us what we already know, what's going to get us. What's going to get us that to where we want to go. So we want to keep this in front of us. And this book is absolutely incredible. I recommend it. It's a quick read too, very, very short. But it's about a young man who basically, this young man started, he really wanted to become successful. He was tired of living paycheck to paycheck. He was tired of the status quo. And in that process, he was so tired of it that he remembered of a friend that he had, actually an uncle that he had. And his uncle's a multi-millionaire uncle. And now, so he gets the bright idea to ask his multi-millionaire uncle about, how he became a multi-millionaire. So he goes to his uncle, and his uncle refers him to a old millionaire who was his mentor. And this is the story of this young man who met a mentor, multi-millionaire, and he taught him the lessons and the wealth principles that create success in all areas of life. So this is called The Instant Millionaire. I hope every single one of you will get this book and study it. Like I said, it's a very quick, easy. And I just took out just a few principles. There's so much in this book that I didn't even took out 5% of what this book has, but I want to share with you a few principles that I learned. Now keep in mind, this webinar is going to be a short webinar. I have 20 more minutes, and then the rest of it, I'll finish it in our next webinar. So that'll be great. Let's go ahead and get started. Here it is. Lesson number 1. Millionaires love what they do. That's why most rich people don't take vacation. Why should they deprive themselves of what they love doing so much? And that's why they continue working long after they become multimillionaires several times over. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You got to love what you do. I tell people all the time, there's a difference between you being in Kayani and Kayani being you. Look at this little boy right here. This little boy's named Guy. Most of you already know the story of Guy. Guy was introduced to Kayani. He was introduced to this incredible product in which his mother started giving it to him when he was almost literally in a comatose. And after 2 weeks of being in the product, Gal started talking again for the very first time in a year, and his very first words were, "Mommy, I love you." Let me tell you, let me ask you something. Can you fall in love with that? Can you fall in love with the mission that we have of impacting 1 million lives by 2018? Because if you can't do that, it's going to be really, really hard. Guys, you have to align yourself with our mission. You have to love what you do. I loved speaking with top producing Blue Diamond, Miss Heidi Holmes, and she just called me one day crying. She says, "I love this company so much," and she told me the most amazing testimony of this product. You know, Miss Angel Dobbs, top producing Diamond, the same thing. She calls me up, tells me how much she loves this business and how impactful this product has been in her life and the lives of people she loves. Let me tell you guys, that's what it's about. It's about living a life for others. It's about living a life for other people and understanding in the process, getting rich is the afterthought. It's what happens as a result of every single one of us helping other people. So fall in love with that. And it's so easy. People ask me a question. They ask me, "How many hours do you work, David?" And I cannot answer that question. The reality is I live this 24 hours a day. I breathe it 24 hours a day. I live it. I love this. It's not even work for me. I love Kayani. I love doing this. It's not a sacrifice, it's a privilege to be in front of this and share this and save people's lives and impact people's lives with this product and this business. So guys, fall in love with it. It's an incredible feeling to be able to fall in love and wake up every single day. And let me tell you guys, when you realize that we are serving a grander purpose and it just hits you and it gets inside of your heart, quitting doesn't even become an option. It's not even a thought, because you understand you serve a grander purpose. Quitting is not even an option or a thought when you understand your purpose, that we're here to help other people, guys, and that's what we're here to do. And when that sets in, forget it, guys. You're bulletproof. Nobody can tell you anything. You're unshakable. It doesn't matter what people tell you. It doesn't matter what if people make fun of you. Nothing matters, because you serve a grander purpose, guys. So fall in love with what we're doing. Choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life. That was Confucius, and I think that's a pretty cool guy, so we should all listen to him. Lesson number 2. If you don't think you can become rich, you rarely do. You have to start by believing you can, and then crave it passionately. You have to start by believing you can, and then crave it passionately. Guys, it is so crazy to me, and how I used to think in the past. My thoughts in the past, how I really believed that I was not worth it. I believed that I couldn't do it. I believed that maybe this was not for me. And it was not until my thoughts started changing and I started increasing my belief that I can do it, then life began to change for me. And I tell you this because we all have doubt. We all have fears. We all come from that place where, like, man, I have never done this before. How can I even do this? But let me tell you guys, everybody in this webinar can become successful. Everybody can become a Diamond in Kayani. You just got to believe that you can do it and take massive action. And you got to crave it passionately. You see that right there? It says passionately. You got to wake up early in the morning thinking about this, and you got to go to sleep thinking about it. And you got to know that you can do it. Know that you can do it. That's what you have to do. Know that you can do it. Know that you can win in Kayani. And know that you can change your life. This is the time for you. So know that you can do it. The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire. You see, I ask the question constantly, what does you on a mission look like? What does you on fire look like? What does you inspired look like? That's what people want to follow. That's the human being that people are moved by. So you got to be moved by passion, by fire. You got to be fired up, guys. Tomorrow's meeting, man, we got to be fired up, excited of where we're going. That's what it takes for every single one of us to win. Lesson number 3. People who wait and they refuse to take risks because they don't have all the right elements in the hand never get anywhere. People who waste time waiting for all the perfect conditions to fall into place never get anything done. The ideal time for action is now. Now's the time to take action. Now's the time for you to change your life, guys. There's no we grossly think that we grossly underestimate time. And we think that we're immortals. We think that we're not going to be here because life happens and we just continue day in, day out. And we're creatures of habits. But let me tell you guys, time is limited. So now's the time to do it. There's no tomorrow. There's no yesterday. Tomorrow does not exist. If we're here 5 minutes from now, all we have is now. If we're here 2 weeks from now, all we have is another now. That's all that we have. So we got to take advantage of what we have in front of us right now, guys. Now's the time to change your life. Now's the time to do the things that you want to do. Now's the time for you to take action and accomplish your dream. Now's the time for you to take that seminar. Now's the time for you to read that book and get better. Do it now. Sometimes later becomes never. I told this story. I tell a story of a 93-year-old man named John that I met at I met him at a retirement home. And this man who passed away recently, he changed my life. When I spent the day with him, and after I spent the day with him, I asked him the question, have you ever had any regrets in life? And John is 93, keep this in mind. And he said, yes, David, I have. He says, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. He said, all I want to do is I want to see them today. And I rarely get to see them. He said, I wish I would have been a painter. He goes, I painted a paint once. They make fun of me, and I let that bother me and steal my dream. He said, I wish I would travel more. He mentioned places he had never been, but he will never get to go. Guys, let's not die with a bucket list. Let's take action now. Regret's the worst thing there is, guys. And at the end of our lives, it's not the things that we did that we're going to regret the most, but rather the things we did not do. So let's take action because now's the time to do it. Lesson number 4. If you want to be successful in life, you have to make sure you have no choice in the matter. You have to put your back to the wall. When you cut all exes and put your back to the wall, you mob out all your inner powers. You want something to with every fiber of your being. Guys, this was me. This was me when I had 2 broken feet. I remember one time sitting in my apartment, it's 102-degree weather, sitting in my wheelchair, waiting for someone to come pick me up. My lights were turned off. There was a note in my door, and my car was in my neighbor's garage. And it was interesting. It was an interesting place that I was in for sure. But I was so fed up with being there. I was so fed up. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted a change in my life. And to me, failure was not an option. No matter what, failure was not an option for me. I wanted to make this happen. I knew that I was going to win. I knew. I was telling people, you know what? I'm going to make $1 million in this opportunity. You should follow me. I was speaking with conviction. Because I knew that I would never again want to be there again. No matter what happened, I was never going back there. And I'm never going back there. I'm never letting my mother go back to work. I'm never letting my daughters go lacking on something. I will take care of my family. I will take care of myself. And that is not even an option. It's a must. It's a must. You guys got to get to where you have a must. What is your must? What must you have? What must you no longer want to be living like? You got to ask yourself those questions, guys. That is the lesson of a millionaire. That you got to get to the point that you just got to do it. There's no other option but doing it, guys. Here's lesson number 5. Mozart. True genius lies in simplicity. Resides in simplicity. True genius resides in simplicity. I use this all the time, guys, because to me, that's the done for you model. The done for you model is so amazing because of the simplicity it has. You know, you got copy, paste, send, and extend your hand and hand out a product. And you guys heard me said before, throw it at people if you must. But that's the simplicity of this. And the simplicity is why this business grows so well. It's why this business grows so fast. So you and I, our job is to keep things simple. When people say, what do you do? Well, I hand out a product and I copy paste in a webinar. And the people that are interested will buy the product, and the people that aren't interested will join the business. Simple. Now, obviously, there's a skill set to piquing someone's interest that we're going to talk about tomorrow. But guess what? The reality is that's the simplicity of it. Anybody can do those acts. Anybody can do those actions. So Mozart said that. I love that. I love this. In character, in manner, in style, in all things, the supreme excellence is simplicity. Mr. Longfellow that said that. And that guy has a beard. All right, lesson number 6. All millionaires I've met told me they became rich at the moment they set themselves an amount and a deadline by which to acquire it. If you don't know where you're heading, the chances are you'll never get there. This is pretty powerful, guys. It's powerful because I can tell you most people don't understand the fact. They don't understand that if I tell you guys that I want to go and travel to Australia this year and I want to become a black diamond this year. If I said that, that's a dream. And it's great to dream. But the difference between a dream and a goal is that a goal has a deadline. So you got to give a deadline to your dreams and make them goals. That's the difference. That's the difference makers. That's what counts. So we got to go ahead and put a deadline to every single goal. You put a deadline to every single thing you want. And guess what? You're not going to hit your goals every single time. But it's not about hitting your goals. It's the person that you stretch to become. It's about stretching. It's about reaching. It's about pushing yourself in order for you to push yourself and become a bigger person to eventually you stretch yourself enough where you stretch so far past your comfort zone that you are now you're out there and your goal fits within your own reality because you have stretched so much. So if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, guys. George Harrison. That guy's pretty cool. All right, number 7. Life gives us exactly what we ask of it. The first thing to do, therefore, is to ask for whatever you want. If your request is vague, whatever you get will be just muddled. If you ask for the minimum, you get the minimum. Any request, you must be absolutely precise. Establish an amount with a deadline. Oh my goodness. Here's what comes to me when I see this. You gotta have clarity. Clarity is power. Clarity is where it starts. And the equation is this. You gotta be clear, you gotta be focused, and number 3, you gotta execute. You gotta take action. That's what, I give you guys the idea that from one of my mentors. One of my mentors is worth over $250 million. And here's what he said. He said, the science of achievement comes this way. Clarity, focus, execution. Clarity, know what you want. Focus. Don't let any distractions get in the way. And then execution. You take massive action. That's the key. Look what Einstein said. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with the big dreams is more powerful than one with all the facts. Man, I choose to listen to Einstein. He's a pretty reliable force. All right, lesson number 8. The most important occupation you have, no matter what we end up choosing, is called working on yourself. Oh my goodness. You know what? I love this because Amy Seaver said something once, and I read it. A friend of mine reminded me in her notes, and here's what she said: money makes you more of what you already are. Money makes you more of what you already are, so you better be working on yourself. You guys get that? You got to be working on yourself. You see, it's about becoming, guys. One of my mentors gave me an equation. He says, be, do, have. Be, do, have. B stands for becoming. First, you got to become a person worthy of becoming a diamond. You have to become. You have to stretch. You have to grow. You have to read books. You have to push yourself past your comfort zone. You got to go. You got to be. So now you become. Then you do. You do. What did you do? What do? You do what you're becoming. You take action. And then have. So the final piece of the equation is half. So be, do, have. So if you're not willing to become more and do more, don't expect to have more. It's pretty logical, isn't it? So I think that everybody's growth comes from, and I know this actually, I don't think I know this. I read a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, which I recommend everybody's fat. One of the requirements for me to mentor you is for you to read 3 books, and I'm going to give them to you because I'm not here holding anything back. Book number 1 for me to mentor you is Go Pro. Number 2, Mindset. And number 3, The Slight Edge. You read those 3 books, and now you're in the process of me helping you get mentor. Because now they can give you a mindset. They can help you think like I think. And because that's what I study. That's what I apply in my life. So one of the books talks about failure and how you grow and how every single one of us grow. We grow through failure. We get better through making mistakes. In fact, he says failure is not even optional. It's a biological requirement for every single one of us to become better. You guys get that? So if you want to get better in any area of your life, you got to go out there and just do it and fall on your face and get back up and do it again and make mistakes. And it's okay. Understand that's called the process. And that's how you grow. That's how you get better. That's how you're working on yourself. Look at this. Jim Rohn. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you will make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Income seldom exceeds personal development. Oh my goodness, that is so incredible. Incredible. So guys, thank you for being on tonight's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording right here. We have maybe about 8 more slides, so we're going to leave it for the next webinar. But don't leave. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and I want to give some last minute announcements.